News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
News Talk KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
A husband and wife pair appear in the justice court in relation to a murder that occurred last week. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It's Monday, August the 11th, 2014. Getting a little harder to see what the conditions are like as it's not quite as light. That means, days are getting shorter, and that means fall is on the way. Right this very minute, we have 56 degrees under a mostly clear sky. Our newscast this morning sponsored by Temperite Service. For all of your plumbing and air conditioning needs, call Team Blue at 728-1111. This morning's top story, a husband and wife appeared via video from the Missoula County Jail before Judge Karen Orzech to face charges related to the torture, beating, and shooting death of a transient whose body was found in the Clark Fork River last week. Kenneth Hickman and Michaela Tembrell, both 21, were allegedly involved in the death of Jack Gilbert. The Deputy County Attorney Jordan Kilby outlined the charges against Hickman and requested a high bail.
Your Honor, the state's asking that bail be set in the amount of $150,000 in this case. The allegation is that this individual beat Gilbert very severely right before he was shot by Kevin Leno. A witness reported that he knocked the victim out with his first punch and continued to beat and kick the victim in the head when he was on the ground.
Kilby explained Tembrell's part in the man's death.
She's married to Kenneth Hickman, who is one of the co-defendants. The other co-defendants are Kevin Leno and Angela Marchese. She is alleged to have escorted the victim's girlfriend away from the scene of the beating, and that's her involvement. We're requesting bail be set in the amount of $50,000.
The search continues for two other suspects who are thought to be out of state now, Kevin Leno and Angela Marchese, who are thought to have fled the area in a white Ford Focus accompanied by several pit bull dogs. Montana recorded more than 300 deaths from prescription drug overdoses in 2010 and 2011. In 2013, though, the number declined to just over 100. The statistics would suggest the state's gaining the upper hand on prescription drug abuse. For the last 2 years or so, Montana's required that all prescriptions for painkillers be registered with the State Board of Pharmacy. Yet there's criticism that Montana's prescription drug work is incomplete, specifically concerning the prescription drug registry. County attorneys say the drug registry is so wrapped up in judicial red tape, such as privacy laws, that it's difficult for law enforcement to use. The Billings Gazette reports that Wyoming law enforcement has much easier access to its state prescription drug registry. Missoula police arrested a 50-year-old homeless man late last week and charged him with sexual intercourse without consent after an incident that occurred behind a convenience store on North Orange Street late Thursday. Public Information Officer Travis Welsh has more.
The officer went to that location where he discovered a male on top of a female engaged in a apparent sex act. And the female, initially anyway, appeared to be either unconscious or otherwise sleeping.
Welsh said detectives determined that the charges should be filed against Tommy Dale Edmondson.
After some initial interviews at the scene, the male was taken into custody. He is a 50-year-old homeless man, and the victim is a 51-year-old Missoula woman.
At his Justice Court appearance Friday, Deputy Missoula County Attorney Jordan Kilby asked that Edmondson be placed in jail on $50,000 bond. Judge Karen Orzech agreed. His next court appearance is later this month. A structure fire damaged an apartment complex on Kemp Street just before midnight Friday. Battalion Chief Steve Paskey with the Missoula City Fire Department says the call came in about 11:40 p.m. Multiple agencies responded to the blaze.
We got a dispatch for a structure fire at 2004 Kemp Street that we responded to with two engines, a truck. The rural fire also responded along with city police and Missoula Emergency Services and the on-duty battalion chief.
Paskey says once firefighters assessed the situation, they were able to bring the fire under control quickly.
When they got there, they found smoke throughout the structure with flames showing in the kitchen. 3 people in the downstairs apartment was alerted by the smoke detectors upstairs and were able to exit the apartment.
Paskey says no one was hurt. Their inspectors were determining the cause of the blaze yesterday, which resulted in an estimated $15,000 in damage. State environmental regulators have given Tintina Resources permission to drill 4 wells to assess the groundwater in the area of its proposed copper mine in central Montana. Tintina Alaska Exploration Vice President Jerry Zieg says the company plans to begin the 30-day test at the site of the Black Butte copper mine as soon as possible. The company plans to drill 3 pumping wells and a monitoring well at depths of 200 to 400 feet to learn where the groundwater starts, how deep it goes, and how quickly it recharges. The mine is near Sheep Creek, a tributary of the Smith River. 3 commercial vendors operated by North Star Foods had to be shut down by the Missoula City County Health Department Friday at the Western Montana Fair over various food-related violations. Environmental Health Supervisor Shannon Terrio says she hopes the management of North Star takes specific steps to ensure that the public will not be endangered by spoiled food again.
I think it's really important that they have people on board that understand food safety, and the best way for them to do that is to have training in food safety and to take food safety classes. And in fact, that's something that's kind of coming down the pike, is to require that at least one person have that sort of training.
Terrio says the health department will be taking a very close look at North Star vendors at next year's fair.
Next year we're going to need to, if North Star is still a vendor that will be at the fair, then we're definitely going to have to have some things in place up front before they even think about operating the booth, because this can't happen again.
Terrio was careful to emphasize that none of the non-commercial or church food booths were in violation of health department guidelines, and that her office would be in contact with any other communities where North Star vendors might be operating in the future. Eyewitnesses at Yellowstone Park claim they saw drones splash down into one of the park's most photographed natural wonders. Here's park spokesman Al Nash.
Last weekend, we had a unmanned aircraft that was being flown over Grand Prismatic Spring, and we have several eyewitness reports that say that it crashed into the spring. Grand Prismatic is big, deep, and hot. We're trying to determine if that poses any kind of a threat to the spring.
Nash says the drone's pilot has been found by park officials.
We have had contact with an individual who identified him or herself as the operator. I don't know any more than that. Given that Grand Prismatic is very photogenic, I don't think it's a real stretch to assume that this flight was so that somebody could either get still images or video of the spring.
Yellowstone Park banned the use of drones 2 months ago to prevent damage to natural features and cut down on interference with wildlife habitat. Finally, the Idaho Transportation Department has granted a permit for an oversized load of oil refining equipment to begin its journey to Montana. The permit granted Friday allows Big Crane to move the megaload from a port west of Lewiston across northern Idaho and over to a refinery in Great Falls. Our News Talk time now is 6:10.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Sunny and hot today with our highs in the upper 90s. We'll see mostly clear skies tonight, lows in the upper 50s. Another 90-degree day on tap for Tuesday with a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13, your first alert station.